Angola is an African country found on the southwest side of the continent. Its capital is Luanda, which is a coastal city. The first Millennial Development Goal is to eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. From 1991 to 2002, there was a decrease of 34.48% of the people who are undernourished in Angola. Currently, the number of people in Angola who are malnourished is at 23%. The target is to cut that percentage in half, and it seems attainable. However, the percentage of the country living on less than $1.25 per day is 54.3. The percentage of the population that lives on less than $2 per day is 70.2. In 2001, 68% of Angolans lived in poverty compared to 37% in 2010. 90% of Angolans, however, live in the slums. The slums in Angola are not only in the big cities, but also in the rural areas. 19% of people in urban areas live in poverty, and 58% of people who live in rural areas of Angola are in poverty. This is the most pressing need for Angola, as is the case with any country. If you can't feed your citizens, there is no need to work on anything else. Getting more food, cleaning the drinking water all across the nation, and increasing the quality of life through the reduction of poverty are all key areas of improvement and are being looked at seriously. The second Millennial Development Goal is to achieve universal primary education. This is one of the MDG's goals where Angola has its greatest progress. Net enrollment rate in primary school rose from 34% in 1991 to 56% in 2005 to 76.3% in 2009, and it's currently 77.2% for boys and 75.4% for girls. Here is still a disparity between rural and urban areas. A big issue for Angola lies in the rural areas versus the urban areas. In 2003, 83.7% of men were considered to be literate, and in 2004, 63.2% of women were considered to be literate. This number is only on the rise and is one of the brightest areas currently for Angola, as well as looking to the future. Education for all children would benefit Angola now, but more importantly, in the future. Jobs would be created and development would increase due to new schools opening up and to teach the children. In the future, the new generation will be more equipped to handle global issues as opposed to being forced to worry about where their next meal will come from. Angola has made strides in increasing the primary education rate, and they are on track with this goal, which is very likely the country's strongest point in regards to the Millennial Development Goals. Angola has not seen the same success with the third Millennial Development Goal as they are seeing with the second. The third goal, empowering women and promoting gender equality, is not as big of an issue in Angola as it is in other countries, because the country began with more women in positions of power. In terms of proportion of seats held in parliament and in decision making, Angola has been considered among the top 10 countries with greater participation of women in decision making. In 2010, there's an increased participation of women in parliament, and 44% of people in parliament are women, and also in government, which 33% of the government officials are women. Angola's main target of the third Millennial Development Goal is to eliminate gender disparities in primary and secondary education at all levels by 2015. Currently, there are slightly more males than females enrolled in primary education in Angola, but there are many more males in secondary education. This goal is definitely within reach, but progress might need to be sped up a bit. Gender equality would prove to the world that Angola is ready to be a serious power on an international level. There aren't any developed countries that have big social discrepancies between men and women, so if Angola wants to prove something, they must continue to close the gap of gender equality. Alright, goal number 4. Reducing child mortality rates is the 4th Millennial Development Goal. Angola has extremely high infant mortality rates, where over 1 in every 10 children dies. The mortality rate of children 0 to 12 months and less are 116 children per 1,000 children born alive, and in kids between 0 and 4 years old, 195 deaths per 1,000 live births. These numbers are on the decline, but not nearly at the rate that they should be going. In 1996, nearly 275 out of every 1,000 children would die before they reached the age of 5. But as was stated before, the number is now down to 195. In 1996, roughly 160 out of every 1,000 babies under the age of 12 months would die, and now the number is at 116. The progress is certainly going in the right direction, but these rates are still alarmingly high. Rural areas have nearly doubled the deaths that urban areas do, which promotes even more of a reason to get help to the rural areas, because they need more help. They need help in more than just one of these goals. More male children are dying under the age of 12 months, but more females are dying between the ages of 1 and 5. Okay, goal number 5. The 5th Millennial Development Goal is improving maternal health. Angola is struggling with the difficult task of lowering the high rates of maternal mortality and sickness, placing it among the highest in the world. To achieve the Millennial Development Goals, Angola will need to make more of an effort to get these rates to a more acceptable level. In the year 1990, Angola had a rate of 1,500 maternal deaths per 100,000 live births. Several years later, in 1995, this number dropped to 1,300 deaths per 100,000 live births. But in 2000, the number of maternal deaths per 100,000 births went higher than ever, up to 1,700. The conditions in the hospitals of Angola could definitely improve, and that is making sure that there are enough midwives. That's one of the targets of this goal. Another area the Angola government is focusing on is making sure that women are educated on the importance of getting regular health checks before and after pregnancy, and being able to provide care to the women in rural areas of the country, as well as the urban areas. Alright, goal number 6. The 6th Millennial Development Goal, combating HIV, AIDS, malaria, and other diseases, is going well in Angola. People living with HIV from the ages of 15 to 49 years old is only 2%. The prevalence of tuberculosis per 100,000 people is roughly 344. The target of this goal is to have the spread of HIV and AIDS halted by the year 2015 and have begun to reverse the spread of the disease. That target seems to be a bit out of reach at this point, and the country is not on track to accomplish that. But the rate of 2.1% of the country having AIDS is much better than many other African countries. It's estimated that there are 3 million cases of malaria per year in the country that has 17 million people. The AIDS rate is good, but the malaria rate isn't. The government, along with NGOs, are working to prevent the spread of these diseases through vaccinations, including other diseases like hepatitis and typhoid fever. Alright, goal number 7 is to ensure environmental sustainability. The government in Angola is a huge resource. The environment in Angola is a huge resource, and a big reason why people and companies go to Angola. Oil is a huge industry in the country, and drilling for oil can cause harm to the environment, obviously. Over 47% of Angola is covered in forests, which is a good number for the country to be at. The target is to stop the reducing of forests. Between oil drilling and diamond mines, this could be a problem, but it isn't currently. Another target of the 7th goal is to reverse the loss of environmental resources, and that is not happening with the drilling of oil. It's a trade-off that the government has to take, though, in order to make a profit. So with this goal, Angola is off track and doesn't appear that they will make this goal by 2015. All right, the final Millennial Development Goal is to develop a global partnership for development. Not too many companies are run through Angola, and less than 1% of Angolans are internet users. The only way Angola can develop a global partnership for development really in the near future is to work through the government, because the citizens won't be able to do that in the near future with no access to internet or anything like that, or limited access. There is no definite marker for this goal, which makes it hard to track, but through many estimations the country could be doing more to make sure that they will become a partner in the world. All right. Overall, Angola is on track to meet 2 of the Millennial Development Goals, totally off track on 1 of the goals, and there is a possibility of meeting 4 of the goals if some changes are made. And the last goal, number 8, is too difficult to track. There's not enough information. The country has taken many strides recently to improve the quality of the citizens' lives, but more work must be done.